When working with a new buyer, should you always sign an exclusive buyer representation agreement?
It's always a good practice. Best practices would be to have a exclusive signed, because that's going to define the relationships and the obligations of the parties. It's also going to make sure that if you start working with a buyer, they'll have more than just a commitment to you, a sense of loyalty along the way, that there's actually some meat and potatoes behind the relationship rather than just kind of a handshake scenario. Some individual brokers don't feel comfortable doing that. They would rather not be in a position where they have an agreement in writing with a buyer. Practically speaking, difficult sometimes to enforce those agreements legally. On the flip side, it's never a bad thing to have that agreement so that if an individual that you're working with happens to wander and then starts working on a different property, and you at that point have invested time and effort into the showings with that individual, you want to make sure that you're treating yourself fairly in addition to treating the buyer fairly along the way. Or an agreement, I would suggest a written agreement would be best practices for the industry itself.